Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Every single year, the clock hits midnight, we see the confetti, we toast to a new beginning, but have you ever really stopped and asked yourself, what is this all about? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden story behind the new year.
Because let's be honest, for a lot of us, New Year's can feel kind of hollow, right? There's all this pressure, all this emotion tied up in getting a fresh start, but spiritually it often feels pretty thin. We're supposed to feel something big, but the why of it all can be a little fuzzy.
So we usually end up putting it in one of three boxes. Either it's just a huge secular party, an excuse to have fun and say goodbye to the last 12 months, or it's a very personal self-help thing, all about New Year's resolutions. Or we just vaguely think of it as some old tradition with, pagan roots. But what if there's another way to see it entirely?
What if we could reframe the new year? What if, instead of being about our own willpower and self-improvement, it's actually a story about divine kingship? Instead of just trying to forget the past, it's about seeing a purposeful history unfold. And that's the big idea we're diving into today, shifting from a purely secular ritual to one that's packed with biblical meaning.
Okay, so how do we even begin to make that shift? Well, to get a different view of the new year, we first have to understand how the Bible talks about time itself. And trust me, it's a pretty radical idea.
See, most of the ancient world saw time as a big circle. It was cyclical, an endless repeating loop. Seasons come and go, empires rise and fall. It's all just a big wheel of decay and return. But the biblical view completely flips that. It says time is linear. It had a beginning, it has an end, and it's moving forward with intention because God created it to tell a story.
And this quote just nails it. In this worldview, history isn't just one random thing after another. No, it's a narrative. It's a story that's unfolding under God's direction. And that means that moments of transition, like, say, the turning of a year, can be full of meaning.
So if time has a purpose, how did ancient Israel mark its passing? Well, their answer brings us to this really fascinating festival that honestly holds the key to this whole conversation, the Feast of Trumpets.
You might know it by its later name, Rosh Hashanah, which means head of the year. The main event? You guessed it, the sounding of trumpets. And it wasn't just noise. It was designed to be this huge, cosmic coronation drama. It was a public annual announcement that God is the true king over everything, all of creation, and all of time itself.
And the logic behind it is actually super simple, but really powerful. Step 1. In the ancient world, what did you use trumpets for? You used them to announce a king's arrival or a coronation. Step 2. What's the main thing you do at the Feast of Trumpets? You blow trumpets. So step 3. The whole point of the festival is to make a royal proclamation. Simple as that.
Now here's a really crucial point. The trumpets weren't some kind of magic spell. Blasting them didn't make God the king. They were just announcing the reality that he already was king. The feast was a moment for everybody to stop, remember that truth, and realign their lives with it at the start of a brand new year.
And this whole theme, a royal announcement at the turn of the year, gets this incredible echo when we jump from the Old Testament to the New and land right in the middle of the Christmas story.
Now, I know we all celebrate Christmas on December 25th, but a lot of scholars point to clues in the text that suggest Jesus was actually born in the early fall, right around the time of the Feast of Trumpets. But honestly, the exact date isn't even the most important part. The real connection is in the themes.
Just look at these parallels. They're amazing. The Feast of Trumpets proclaims divine kingship. The Nativity story calls Jesus the heir to King David's throne. The feast uses trumpets to make its big announcement. The Nativity uses a choir of angels. The feast is a cosmic drama. The Nativity has a huge cosmic sign, the star. It's the exact same pattern, a royal announcement at a major turning point in history.
Okay, but this brings up a really common question. The minute you say star, people think, wait a minute, is this just astrology? And that's a fair question, but there's a huge distinction we need to make here.
In the biblical worldview, a sign like the star is divine communication. It's a message from God declaring what he is up to. Astrology and horoscopes, on the other hand, are about divination. They're systems people use to try and predict or even control their own fate. See the difference? The star wasn't determining anyone's destiny. It was pointing to a king. It was an invitation, not a forecast.
All right, so let's bring this all back. What does any of this ancient theology have to do with us on January 1st? How can it possibly change the way we look at our modern holiday?
Well, it means we can totally re-enchant the new year. Instead of it just being about self-help and resolutions, it can be about covenantal remembrance, taking a moment to remember the promises God has made and kept. Instead of superstition about having good luck, it can be a proclamation that a good king is in charge. Our hope isn't in our own ability to get a fresh start, it's in God's faithfulness. And we remember that the real turning point of all human history wasn't a clock hitting 12, it was the birth of that king.
When you see it this way, each year that passes by isn't just another page you rip off the calendar. It's a powerful reminder that this linear, purposeful story, history itself, is marching forward. It's moving toward an ultimate restoration of everything under its true king. Now that is a story of incredible hope.
So, I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What if the ball dropping in Times Square, the countdowns, the fireworks, what if it's all just an unconscious echo of an ancient trumpet blast? What if the turning of the year is actually an annual invitation for all of us to just stop, to listen, and to remember who truly reigns over all our time?